Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. This one's going to be a little different.
Oh?
Yeah, we're going to be looking at some really big questions,
Right.
like creation and time, even AI ethics.
Wow.
And we're going to be looking at them through the lens of the Bahá'í Faith.
Interesting.
Yeah, and whether or not you're familiar with the Bahá'í Faith, I think you'll find what they have to say about all this stuff pretty interesting.
I agree.
Especially if you've ever thought about how science and spirituality can kind of work together.
They fit together, yeah.
Yeah. So for a little background,
Okay.
the Baha'i Faith is a world religion.
Sure.
It's relatively new.
Okay.
And one of their most important principles
Yeah.
is this harmony of science and religion.
Like they go together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No need to choose sides.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So that leads us to the three big themes we're going to be talking about today.
Right.
All from a Baha'i perspective.
Okay.
First, we'll dive into creation and evolution.
Okay.
Can we believe in both? Then we'll get to the nature of time and the universe.
Huge topic.
Is it eternal or does it have a beginning and an end?
Right.
And finally, we're going to explore AI and ethics.
Okay.
How can spiritual principles guide us in all this new tech that's coming out?
It's changing so fast.
Yeah, I know. And I think you'll find that the Baha'i Faith
Okay.
has some pretty unique and thought-provoking answers.
Can't wait.
Let's start with that first big one,
Sure.
creation and evolution.
Yeah.
So one of the core principles of the Baha'i Faith is that
Yeah.
science and religion are two wings of understanding.
Oh, I like that.
They work together.
Instead of being opposed.
Yeah, to help us get a fuller picture of reality,
So true.
not meant to be fighting it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how does that actually play out when
Right.
we talk about creation and evolution?
Well, from the Baha'i point of view,
Okay.
evolution isn't seen as contradicting creation.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's actually seen as a tool of creation,
Yeah.
a process that God uses to bring about all the diversity and complexity of life we see.
So it's not like we have to choose one or the other.
No, not at all.
We can believe in both.
Absolutely.
Interesting. So the Baha'i Faith is saying we can believe in both creation and evolution.
That's right. Evolution is seen as how creation actually unfolds,
Wow.
a continuous process that's guided by a divine plan.
Okay.
It's actually often called progressive creation in the Baha'i writings,
Progressive creation.
Yeah.
So instead of like a one-time event,
right?
it's more of an ongoing process.
Yeah.
Like the universe is constantly becoming,
Evolving.
always evolving towards something greater.
That's a great way to put it.
It really makes you think differently
It does.
about how the universe came to be and how it keeps evolving.
And it challenges us to move beyond these fixed ideas of creation.
Right.
To think bigger.
Yeah, it's like creation is a journey, not the destination.
Love that.
But what does that actually mean for us? How does this idea of progressive creation change how we see ourselves in the universe?
It suggests that we're not just passive observers,
Oh,
just watching creation happen.
right.
We're actually active participants in this whole unfolding process.
Wow.
And we have a role to play
We do.
in shaping the future, both individually and collectively.
So instead of just inheriting a fixed world, we're actually co-creators.
Yes, exactly. And that's a huge responsibility.
It is.
The Baha'i teachings really emphasize our capacity to make the world better.
We can make a difference.
Absolutely. And to work towards a future where everyone can thrive.
I'm really starting to see how this Baha'i perspective
Yeah.
on creation and evolution
Right.
opens up this whole new way of thinking about the world and our place in it.
I agree. It's like a lens.
It is.
It helps us see things more clearly.
Yeah, and it's this lens that we're going to use as
Right.
we look at our next theme.
Right.
The nature of time and the universe.
Here we go.
Are you ready to have your mind blown?
I think so.
Buckle up. Because
Okay.
the Baha'i idea of time is not what we're used to.
Oh.
It's not linear,
What?
like a straight line from past to present to future.
So time doesn't move in a straight line.
That's what they say.
Wow.
From the Baha'i perspective, time is a reflection of the eternal nature of God.
Okay.
It goes beyond how we humans understand it.
So if time isn't linear, then what is it?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm having a little trouble wrapping my head around it myself.
Think of it this way.
Okay.
Time as we experience it
Uh-huh.
is relative to how we perceive things as humans.
Okay.
It's how we understand the unfolding of creation.
Okay.
Like we're looking at this vast ocean,
Right.
but only through a tiny window.
We only see a little bit.
Exactly. And we see it in this linear way.
So we're like those boats you mentioned earlier.
Right.
We're experiencing time as a straight line.
Yeah.
But the ocean itself is boundless and eternal.
Exactly. The ocean's always there, always flowing.
It's always there.
But how we see it
Right.
is limited by our own perspective.
Like, we're trying to understand the ocean by looking at just one wave.
Exactly.
It gives us some info, but not the whole picture.
And from a spiritual perspective,
Yeah.
creation has no beginning and no end.
So it's eternal.
It is.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
It is.
And it makes me think about the Big Bang.
Oh, yeah.
Even science suggests that the universe has always existed in some form.
Right.
Always expanding, always in motion.
It's fascinating how science and spiritual teachings can line up like that.
Yeah.
But the Baha'i writings were talking about an eternal universe way before the Big Bang Theory.
Wow, that's incredible.
It is.
So the Baha'i Faith says it's not just the universe that's eternal,
Right.
but our souls are on an eternal journey too.
That's right. Just as the universe is always evolving and progressing,
Okay.
so are our souls.
We're not just physical beings having a temporary experience.
We're spiritual beings on an eternal journey of growth and development.
All right, you officially blew my mind.
I did.
This changes everything.
It does.
If time is eternal and we're all on this journey of progression,
Right.
what does that even mean for our purpose in life?
That is a wonderful question,
Yeah.
and one that I think we should spend some time on
Okay.
as we continue our deep dive.
Sounds good.
But for now, let's take a minute and think about what we've talked about so far.
Okay.
The Baha'i Faith has this really unique perspective on creation and evolution,
Yeah.
saying that both are part of this grand ongoing process guided by divine purpose.
Right.
And when we see time as a reflection of eternity,
Okay.
it changes how we see ourselves and the universe.
It's like the world is suddenly full of infinite possibilities.
It is.
Which is a pretty exciting thought.
It is.
But before we get too lost in the cosmos,
Right.
I need to come back down to Earth
Yeah.
and talk about a very real and urgent issue:
Which is awesome.
artificial intelligence and ethics.
Good one.
Yeah, let's shift our focus to what's happening right now
Okay.
and see how Baha'i principles can guide us in all this rapidly changing tech.
It's moving so fast.
It is, let's face it, we're creating some really powerful AI these days.
We are.
But are we thinking about the ethics?
That's the question.
I have a feeling the Baha'i Faith has some strong opinions on this.
Oh, they do.
Okay, let's hear it.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Okay, so it's not always obvious
Right.
that spirituality and technology go hand in hand,
Right.
but the Baha'i teachings seem to be saying that they actually are.
They're really intertwined.
Yeah.
The Baha'i view is that spiritual principles should be at the heart of everything we do.
Okay.
And that
Good
includes
language.
our scientific and technological advances.
So instead of seeing science and spirituality as being in conflict,
Right.
they should actually be working together
Totally.
to help us figure out how to move forward responsibly.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
It's about finding that balance
Yeah.
between our material progress
Mhm.
and our spiritual development.
I love that.
Yeah.
Like, we need this higher compass, you know?
Something beyond just making money
Yeah.
or creating the slickest new gadget.
Yeah, we need something to guide us
Exactly.
in this uncharted territory of AI.
Yeah, and the Baha'i Faith
Yeah.
seems to offer some pretty clear guidelines for that.
They do. The Baha'i writings emphasize that technology, including AI, should always be used to make humanity better.
Okay, so it's not about being afraid of AI
No, not at all.
or trying to stop it.
Right.
It's about shaping it into a force for good.
Absolutely. And that leads us to some core principles.
Okay, let's hear it.
Right. One of the foundational principles is the oneness of humanity.
Oneness of humanity.
Yeah, the idea that we're all connected.
Regardless of our differences.
Exactly. And that we should be working together.
Okay, so in terms of AI, what does that actually look like?
Well, it means that AI should benefit everyone.
Not just a select few.
Right. It's about making sure AI doesn't make existing inequalities worse.
That's a good point. We don't want AI to divide us even more. Exactly, and that brings us to another principle.
Okay.
Justice and fairness.
Justice and fairness so important.
It is the Baha'i Faith says justice is essential for society to function well.
And how does that apply to AI?
We need to watch out for bias in AI systems.
Oh, yeah.
Algorithms can perpetuate and even amplify existing prejudices.
That's scary.
It is if they're not designed carefully.
We've seen examples of that already, like AI systems with racial or gender bias.
Yeah, unfortunately we have, and that's why this principle of justice and fairness is so crucial.
Right, we need to build in safeguards
Absolutely.
to make sure that AI is actually promoting equity.
And actively addressing those biases.
It's not enough to just hope for the best.
Nope, we have to be proactive.
Yeah, and that brings us to another important principle.
Okay,
What is it?
service to humanity.
Service to humanity in terms of AI.
The Baha'i teachings say that AI should be a tool to uplift and empower people,
Okay.
not to exploit or replace us.
So AI as a tool for progress, not destruction. Exactly. It's about recognizing the potential of AI
Yeah.
to solve global challenges and improve our lives,
Right.
but always remembering that it should be working for us.
Not the other way around.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's about maintaining our own agency as humans,
Yes. And making sure AI serves our needs.
and not the other way around. Got it.
And last but not least, there's the principle of consultation,
Consultation. Okay.
which means making decisions together.
So how does that fit in with AI development?
Decisions about how we develop and use AI shouldn't be made in a vacuum.
Yeah.
We need to get everyone involved: ethicists, scientists, policymakers, spiritual leaders, everyday people.
So we need a global conversation about AI.
We do one that includes everyone who will be affected by it.
It's about making sure AI is guided by wisdom
By foresight?
and by a deep understanding of its impact.
Yes, exactly.
Wow, these 4 principles:
They're powerful.
oneness of humanity, justice and fairness, service to humanity, and consultation.
Yeah.
They really do offer a framework for thinking about ethical AI. And they challenge us to see AI,
Yeah.
not just from a technological point of view.
But also from a social and ethical one.
Right.
But are these principles actually being used in the real world?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Are there examples of people developing AI
Yeah.
who are actually following these guidelines?
Well, it's complicated. The answer is kind of mixed.
Okay.
There are definitely people and organizations out there
Yeah.
who are trying to develop and use AI ethically.
Okay.
For example, there are initiatives using AI to fight climate change
Okay.
or to improve healthcare in underserved communities.
So there's some hope.
There is, but at the same time,
Yeah.
we're also seeing cases where these principles are being ignored.
Oh, no.
There are worries about algorithmic bias,
Right.
about using AI for surveillance,
Yeah.
and about AI making economic inequality worse.
So it sounds like we still have a lot of work to do.
We do to make sure AI is developed and used ethically.
This isn't something we can just ignore.
It's not. It's an ongoing conversation.
It is.
And we all need to be part of it.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just sit back and watch.
No, we all have a role to play.
We do in shaping the future of AI.
Exactly. We can learn about the ethical issues,
Yeah.
engage in thoughtful discussions,
Okay.
and advocate for policies that put human well-being first.
And even in our own lives,
Right.
we can make choices about what technologies we use and support.
Absolutely. Every choice we make, every action we take
Yeah.
contributes to the future of AI
Wow.
and how it impacts our world.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot today.
We have.
We've looked at the Baha'i perspective on creation and evolution,
Yeah.
the nature of time and the universe,
Right.
and the ethical challenges of AI.
Big topics.
It's clear that the Baha'i faith
Yeah.
offers a unique and compelling lens
It does.
for looking at these issues.
I think the Baha'i teachings encourage us
Yeah,
to approach these challenges from both a scientific and spiritual perspective.
to seek knowledge and wisdom, and to understand our interconnectedness as humans.
And that interconnectedness keeps coming up.
It does, it's a central theme.
It is the Baha'i faith really emphasizes that oneness of humanity.
As a fundamental principle,
Yeah, it's about recognizing our shared humanity,
embracing our differences
working together.
to create a world where everyone can thrive.
And that message is something we can all connect with.
I think so.
It's a call to action, you know?
It is.
An invitation to build a better future together.
Guided by unity, justice, and love.
And to see ourselves as citizens of one world, the children of one God.
Beautiful.
That's a powerful thought.
It is.
So how can we as individuals
Yeah.
contribute to creating that future?
Right.
What can we actually do to make sure AI is used for good?
It's a great question.
It is, and I think it's one that each of us needs to think about.
We do both individually and together.
Let's take a moment to reflect on that.
Okay.
We've explored a lot of big ideas today.
We have.
It's important to take some time to process it all. Welcome back to the deep dive.
It's been a journey,
It has.
exploring all these big questions through the Baha'i faith.
We've talked about creation and evolution,
The nature of time.
and AI and ethics.
So much to think about.
And one thing that really sticks out to me
Okay.
is this idea of interconnectedness.
Oh, yeah.
You know how the Baha'i Faith says
Yeah.
we're all part of one big human family.
It's so important.
And it's not just some feel-good saying.
No.
It actually impacts how we deal with these big challenges,
It does.
especially something as powerful as AI.
Right. If we forget we're all connected, it's easy to slip into that us versus them thinking,
Oh, yeah.
which can be dangerous.
Especially with AI.
It's like we need to remember we're all in this together.
Exactly.
The choices we make about AI
Right.
affect everyone.
Not just a few.
And that brings us back to those 4 principles:
Oneness of humanity,
justice and fairness,
service to humanity.
and consultation
Such a solid framework.
for ethical AI development.
They're not just theoretical either.
No, they need to be put into practice.
We need to ask the tough questions.
Like, who benefits from this technology?
And who's being left out?
It's not just about avoiding harm either.
Right.
It's about using AI to actually make the world better.
I loved those examples you gave
Oh, yeah.
about AI being used to fight climate change.
And improve healthcare.
It shows that this technology can be a force for good.
If we use it with the right intentions,
Intention is key.
are we trying to uplift and empower?
Or are we trying to exploit and control?
That's the question.
And it's a question we all need to ask.
Not just the tech people.
Even small choices,
Like what we buy
who we support.
can make a difference,
It's about taking responsibility
Yeah.
for the future we're creating.
individually and collectively.
And consultation is key.
We need to talk openly and honestly about AI.
Yeah.
We need different voices, different perspectives.
We can't just leave it to the tech companies.
Or the governments.
It's like we're at a crossroads.
We are.
And the decisions we make now about AI
Will have huge consequences.
for generations to come.
It's true, and it highlights the need
Yeah.
for wisdom and foresight.
Like the Baha'i writings say.
To see ourselves as citizens of one world, the children of one God.
Powerful.
It is, if we could really grasp that
It would change everything.
about AI development,
It could lead to a future where AI helps us bridge divides,
foster understanding.
create a more just and equitable world.
That's the future we want,
It is a future worth fighting for,
where technology helps us be more human.
not less.
Exactly.
Well, we've explored a lot in this deep dive,
We have.
and I feel like I've learned so much.
You're
Me
proud
too.
of me.
I hope you have too.
I hope so.
If you're interested in learning more about the Baha'i Faith,
Yeah.
we've got some resources in the show notes.
Check them out.
But even if you don't go any further,
Right.
I hope this deep dive has gotten you thinking
Asking questions
about the role of technology in your life.
and remembering that we're all connected.
That's a great takeaway.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
And until next time, keep exploring
Keep learning.
and keep striving to make the world a better place.
Goodbye, everyone.